iTunes. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the 11th episode of Tomes and Tunes. I am your host, Arielle Silver, and this show is about songwriters getting together and chit chatting about books and song swapping and catching up. So, welcome to the show. And my guest today is Mariami. She is a native of the country of Georgia. She's a Georgian girl, and she is right now calling in from New Jersey. And I'm in Los
Yes.
Angeles. Hello.
Wow. Hi.
Take two.
Yes.
That was funny. I didn't even realize technology. But so, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. 11th
I'm
episode.
honored.
Very happy to have you as my guest. So, you and I met, what year was it? 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Here in Los Angeles. It was the Songwriters Shindig.
NSAI. Yeah.
Yep. And then the next time we saw each other, we were on stage together playing a little songwriter in the round.
Yeah. Was that really the time lapse? There was nothing in between?
Not that I remember, but memory is fallible, so I have no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I think a lot happened in between those 2 points, and then certainly since we played our show together, between then and now, the whole world has shifted and changed. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah. So I don't know if Mariami, I don't know if you can see the comments on the side, but hello,
No.
Mark. I see you there.
Oh, I don't
Thanks,
see.
Mark.
Where? Oh.
Good.
Hi, Mark. You're at the airport in Texas. Well, we are going to entertain you.
And so let's see. So you've been in New Jersey for a couple of weeks now, and then maybe stay there for a little bit longer. Is that right?
Yes, I'm here for definitely for 2 weeks. I've had to actually quarantine here because I flew in from California. So that was a mandatory health initiative. And then I'll be heading up north to Vermont and actually have a couple recording sessions next week. So I'll be making
Fabulous.
music while I'm out here.
That's awesome. New
Yeah.
songs, I guess.
New songs. Yeah. My whole creative journey started on the East Coast. So most of my original producers and my team are out here, like where my sound was made.
Yeah, and you have a really distinct sound too.
I think so.
I was honestly last night I was sitting right here in this space getting some work done and prepping for today's show, and it was time for me to go back into the house and just wrap it up, but I was just stuck here in my chair because I didn't want to turn your music off. I was just
Oh,
listening and listening and listening. So,
thank you.
it's soul, and I know that you're from Georgia, the country of Georgia, not the
Mm-hmm.
state. I'm
Correct.
I'm kind of curious as to, do you hear the influence of your Georgian past on the music that you make?
I do. I think it's very integrated, though, and I think it's very ingrained in my melodic instincts, like singing dissonant tones and the way that I arrange harmonies, um, the soft spokenness of the timbre of the female voice in folklore. I think a lot of the like basis, the basis for like how I paint melody comes from like Georgian folkloric arrangements, which is like soulful, tragic, deep, and like feminine. So I also grew up listening to a lot of Brazilian music and international music. So those those were like the pillars for like how I crafted coincidentally pop songs, so which are not like pop and folk are not really connected, but I always took Georgian and folkloric elements and then like put it into a modern context.
Yeah, it it's interesting to hear you talk about it because you can when everybody else hears your music, if they're not familiar with it, you'll hear that. Yeah, and it's beautiful stuff and a lot of tensions and definitely jazz feeling underneath, and maybe that's the Brazilian piece of it coming into it
For
that
sure.
I hear.
Yeah.
Um, so you're going to be going up to Vermont to do some
Mm-hmm.
recording, and right now you're
Mm-hmm.
hanging at your dad's house with Audrey
Yes.
behind you.
Yes, that's my sister. She's home from Colombia. She was at Sciences Po in France studying, and she had to come home because the French borders closed. So
Yeah,
we're
right.
all reunited at Dad's house.
Very nice. And so what have you guys been doing as you've reconnected? I'm picturing
Family?
yeah.
Um, there's been actually a lot of like interfamilial support. Like I've been helping my sister with her essays. I've been helping my stepmom with her portfolio. She's in fashion, like high end fashion. She's worked for like Vera Wang and Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger doing technical design. So like where buttons go and such. So she has a lot of fashion expertise, and I'm helping her put all her work into a visual presentation. And we're sort of like summarizing her life work and coming up with like statements so that she can start consulting.
Huh.
So I've been helping her with that because Instagram is not her thing. So it's funny, like everybody's different talents are like helping one another out. And now we're like forced to sit in the house and be with each other. So I've been helping my dad with Google Ads for his business. My sister actually is the one that gave me the quote for today because I don't read, which is terrible. So
So let me just clarify that I invited Mariama over into the Tomes and Tunes show because this is a show where songwriters talk about books, and we set up the show, and then she was like, "Oh, P.S. I don't like to read."
I don't not like to, and I'm hoping actually after this, this will kick my butt a little bit. I need to read. I know that is literature is massive for you, so I'm hoping you can enlighten me on remind me why that is so necessary.
So I mean, I don't really believe that you don't read though, but you don't read a lot of books, but do you read articles like
Yeah.
what do you yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Like where do you feed the language for your songs? You know what I mean? Like
well, first of all, I usually keep a stack of books on my desk, whether they're design books or art books. Um, I'm more stimulated visually than with literature, but I'll sometimes go to bookstores. In LA, in DTLA, there's one.
the last bookstore?
No. It's
Oh.
It's like the somehow linked to the architecture school. It's not McNally Jackson. That's in New York. What is it called?
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Is it a chain?
Mc something. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're
It's
talking about. I've
quite
shopped there.
large.
Yeah.
It's by Cafe Gratitude.
And so you go, what do you,
No, I can't remember. But there's a lot of like art books, like Phaidon. Is that the publisher? Phaidon.
yeah.
Those gorgeous uh, picture books and fashion books. I'll just go in there and like grab a stack of those, and sometimes I'll even take pictures with my iPhone or extract words and things that I like, and like keep a little iPhone list of words that I inspire.
Huh. That's interesting.
You
I
really-
want to say something about your fashion and image orientation, which is, your website is beautiful. You've taken a lot of beautiful, very fashion seeming shots, a lot of pictures and stuff like that. I don't know if you have a background in modeling or not, but I'm not surprised to hear that your stepmother is in the industry.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's so funny. I had a call earlier this morning with a producer from Taiwan who I'm working with, and a few weeks ago, I was in the Maxim contest for the swimsuit, which just was one of those things that happened during quarantine because I had downtime and I entered. But I also happened to have a lot of high res photos of me in not bikinis, but like leotards that were sparkly and like things that you might see like Beyonce in or Rihanna in.
As we all do. We all
Yeah.
have those high-res photos.
All of us just have them hanging around. I just thought it was. I get so excited at the prospect of staging a shoot and tying in a visual and a narrative to the music, and like that to me is just as exciting as writing a song and being in the studio and like getting ready for the shoot and working out. It motivates me to eat well. It motivates me to work out, get a six-pack, even if it's for like a little bit, and then I pig out on ice cream for the week after. But I just it becomes like a little encapsulated moment. Like the Vortex EP is associated with the time where I was blonde and like I was trying this look, and we shot out in the Hamptons and we brought in a 70s Porsche, and then there was Porsche referenced in the lyrics, and like that stuff is for me what feeds the art. I get excited about it, and I know that people interact with it, and then it allows people to sort of form their own narrative about you and have that visual to like sort of associate with your brand. And that stuff gets me jazzed. I love helping other people with that too, like helping them form like mood boards and visuals around their storytelling.
Dude, I'm totally calling you the next time I need
Do
something
it.
like
It's my,
that.
I love it. I love like if you were like, all right, I'm into the 80s, nylon and black and white. Like I could go and like curate some stuff for you. I love the 70s. I love glamorous, like the poofy hair. I love dramatic eyes. I love European elements, and I love the Porsches and design. So, yeah.
That's so awesome. It's like it's just that other world. For me, it's like the books and the
Yes,
literature and all of
I
that stuff.
love
But you're
that
talking about
though.
this other, artistic world, which I find so stimulating and interesting. And it's not the way that I move through the world. It's not what I focus on and what I've like. It hasn't resonated on that authentic this is me level, but it
Ah,
resonates on this like, oh, the other level. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I'm interested in like the fact that it resonates with people who are different, you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But see, I love that because your world is entirely the other for me.
Yeah.
Like I have a hard time sitting down. A friend just sent me an article and I opened it, and 2 minutes later I was like, I can't read this right now. Like I'm like there, I'm always thinking about like the next thing, like sitting down and like focusing on one task and reading a book and like sitting there and ingesting it and like really metabolizing it is like it's difficult for me. Like I
Yeah.
struggle with that. I have ADHD.
Yeah.
So the fact,
And words are interesting because when they occur on the page, it's one and then another and then another. It's like linear, word, 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 word. You can't just there's some experimental writing out there that's more nonlinear, but
mm-hmm.
traditional prose is like very linear, and you just have to follow a sentence from the first capital letter all the way to the period at the end, and then start the next sentence. Whereas art is more of a movement of the eye, and you're not in that linear, you know, space anymore, right? That makes
No,
sense.
you're not. But that's where I get excited because I feel
Yeah,
like those are my dots to connect. So if I go into a store and I see a gorgeous gown that's made of lace with embroidery and a surfer naked on the beach, and I grab those and I put them on a mood board and I get home, it might not even be that night, but like the next day I might get a visual pop to mind or a sound, and that's how I write. Also, another thing which I think you would really love. Unfortunately, we can't do this right now, but I love musing when, especially when I go to different cities, like going to cathedrals and churches and temples, and to structures that have like extraordinary feats of execution,
yeah,
like things that are just marvelous to look at. In New York, there's Wave Hill, there's the Cloisters, which is
yeah,
Gothic. The other
yeah,
day, actually I shouldn't have done this because I'm supposed to be in quarantine, but we went to the Princeton campus, which
yeah.
is Gothic architecture and absolutely stunning. And we just walked through the campus with our masks on, and I was like in a daze. Something about the regalness of architecture and design that is so intelligent really just moves my soul. And then like I said, like I'll come home and it might not be that night, but the next day I'll think of that, like that's what calls me to the guitar, and that's like where the art comes from.
Yeah.
Do you
I
feel that
totally
way?
well, I really relate to the idea of art inspiring art, or
Mm-hmm.
another kind of art form inspiring your music. And also, I do love architecture. My dad was an architect when I was
Mm.
a kid, and my childhood drawings were always on the backs of his blueprints. And I lived for a long time and worked for a long time in Harvard Square, and
Oh,
so the campus is Harvard and Princeton, probably not. I haven't spent any time on the Princeton campus, but I imagine
You would
in
love
terms of
it.
time period, not too far off. Yeah, I have a real appreciation. The last time I was in New York City was last year, this time, about a year ago, and I almost made it to the cloisters. My plan was to get to the cloisters during. I was sort of popping into New York to get somewhere, and then popping back into New York to leave.
Okay.
And so the first time when I popped in, my schedule was just such that I had to stay right in the city, and I went to St. Patrick's Cathedral and
Oh
spent some
yeah.
time in there. And then I had my guitar, I had a suitcase. It was like it was bloody hot. And then on the way out of the city, I had wanted to go to the cloisters, and so I had planned my travel to get me to the top of Manhattan. And then by the time I got out of the train up there, I realized that to get back to, I forget if it was a bus or a plane or what it is I had to get to, but the schedule was such that I didn't have time to go all the way to the cloisters, spend time there, and then carry on.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
so worth it.
I know it is. I've been there
Both
before.
Princeton and the cloisters. Okay, you've been there
Yeah,
before. Have
I've
you been to
the
Wave
cloisters.
Hill?
I haven't. Is that
You
in
would
New York?
love that. That is upper, like almost on the cusp of the Bronx, and it's on the
Okay.
Hudson River. I believe. Oh my God, this mushy Corona brain. It's a thing. Like when you forget basic things. Mark Twain lived there for a long time, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, like set of buildings, homes. I don't know what they are, but it's on the Hudson River, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that
weddings are held there.
It's funny because right now, as you're talking, I'm immediately thinking of a book that I would recommend to you.
Really? What is it?
But
I'll
you're not
read
gonna
it.
read it.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will.
So there's a book by Pete Hamill called Forever, and
Okay.
it starts off in Ireland, and I forget the year, but a long, long time ago. And the protagonist is a young boy, and there's something about his father's killed. He avenges his father. There's something about this. It's the very, very beginning of the book, and not the full thrust of it, but just to set up the rest of the book. And he ends up on a slave ship, and ending up in the United States. And on that trip, he meets. He becomes friends with one of the men who was being stolen from Africa and being brought to Manhattan to be sold. And they develop a little bit of a friendship, and there's something magical that happens in that moment where this kid is sort of blessed / cursed that he would live forever, but he has to stay on the island of Manhattan, something like that. And I forget exactly the time frame of when he arrives in Manhattan, but it's during colonial period.
Okay.
I mean, obviously during the early years of enslavement, and he lives in Manhattan, and you see over the course of several hundred years the whole development of New York, basically.
Oh, wow.
From like the beginning of Manhattan all the way through. I can't. Oh, I know. The book ends on 9/11, basically.
Oh, wow.
I remember the story that the author submitted it to his publisher just before 9/11, perhaps even on September 10th. He submitted it to his publisher, and then 9/11 happened, and he took the book back and he worked out a new ending for the book.
Okay.
And the ending is really heartbreaking but beautiful.
Oh.
But it's just this, like, you know, for people who are interested in New York City and who feel like this affinity for the town and for the land and for the history of it. It's such an interesting book.
Wow.
Set in a fictionalized setting, of course.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I'm going to read it.
Maybe you will.
I have downtime.
I wish I had it on my shelf right now. I would pull it down and share a passage from it. But you go first. So your sister gave you a book to share.
Yes, I've
What is
actually,
that?
ironically, I have read this book. Have you read it?
I have not read it, but we have it in the house.
Young Rinpoche. Drip by drip, the quote is, drip by drip, the cup will get filled. And I think that's so relevant right now, because I don't know how other people feel, but I think there's this sense of impending doom and an uncertainty of like unknowingness for when this will all end. But within that, we're all still finding our new cosmic rhythms, our new routines. We're achieving different things. We're realizing different things, and drip by drip, I think this, as tragic and wildly like sad and vast and nebulous it is regarding like why it's happening, it will come to an end, and there will be a new beginning, and there will be, a closure to this, and within that other beautiful things can still happen. And I've seen little mini manifestations everywhere for everybody. Somebody launching their business. I'm marveled that you're doing this. This is episode 11, and I'm sure you're bringing so much joy and light to so many people's lives, and like building a completely new paradigm. And just there's drip by drip, the cup get filled.
Drip by drip.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I see a couple of people on here. Hello, Brent and Feder and Emily, Susan,
Fun.
Marty,
Damn.
Chandra, and
like,
I'm sure there are other people that I'm not seeing, but thank you guys all for being here. If you want, you can put something in the comments so we see you. I really like that, Mariami. I like that reminder. I think a lot, it's a cliche that I think maybe is boring, as a lot of cliches are, the idea of the caterpillar into the butterfly. But the part that change that's interesting to me is the goo in the middle, in the chrysalid. And there's a mystery that's happening in there, and we don't know what that is. And there's a mystery that's happening right now, and we don't know what it's going to look like afterwards. I know that for sure at the beginning of the quarantine, for the first, I don't know how long it lasted, it was so quiet, and I was so finally relieved, because I love Los Angeles, but the part that has irritated me for the whole time I've been here is just the incessant noise.
Oh, okay.
Just from the freeway, from the airplanes, from everything.
North Hollywood is loud with Burbank Airport.
Yeah, and it got so quiet for a while. Yeah. And then, of course, this morning we had the helicopter situation. For anybody who's local, there was you probably woke up this morning to helicopters. But yeah, there's that a friend of mine calls this the great pause. And I like the poetry.
The great cosmic pause.
Yeah, I like the poetry of that, but I don't feel like it's a pause. I just feel like it's sort of amorphous. It's got a weird shape to it right now, and it's hard to quite describe what that is. Right. It has that gooey feeling.
Yeah.
I have been reading, and I'm done with it now, but I still can't resist. I've been sharing for the last few weeks quotes or passages from Toni Morrison's Beloved. Oh. And I have, you could see,
yes, girl.
In part because I teach creative writing and literature, and I was teaching a writing seminar earlier this morning, and I had wondered, I ended up not talking about this book, but I had been going through it again and again, thinking if I were to talk about this book in the seminar this morning, what would I talk about? And so I was brainstorming.
What school do you teach at?
Well, I teach at Antioch University, Los Angeles.
That's right.
Yeah, and then this morning I was teaching for the International Women's Writing Guild, which is
oh my gosh,
an organization that every summer holds its conference, its annual conference, and it has some mini conferences throughout the year. But I've been on faculty for the summer conference for the last few years, and I was supposed to be on faculty there again this summer, but of course the conference was canceled. So instead I'm teaching some online seminars for them, and we had a great one this morning, and I didn't talk about Beloved.
Oh, that's fair.
But I'm going to share another little passage of this here, if you will indulge me.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not in context. I'm not giving any context. I'm just reading the passage. Once before, and only once, Paul D. had been grateful to a woman. Crawling out of the woods, cross-eyed with hunger and loneliness, he knocked at the first back door he came to in the colored section of Wilmington. He told the woman who opened it that he'd appreciate doing her woodpile if she could spare him something to eat. She looked him up and down. A little later on, she said, and opened the door wider. She fed him pork sausage, the worst thing in the world for a starving man, but neither he nor his stomach objected. Later, when he saw the pale cotton sheets and 2 pillows in her bedroom, he had to wipe his eyes quickly, quickly, so that she would not see the thankful tears of a man's first time. Soil, grass, mud, shucking, leaves, hay, cobs, seashells, all that he'd slept on. White cotton sheets had never crossed his mind. He fell in with a groan, and the woman helped him pretend he was making love to her and not to her bed linen. He vowed that night, full of pork, deep in luxury, that he would never leave him. She would have to kill him to get him out of that bed. 18 months later, when he had been purchased by North Point Bank and Railroad Company, he was still thankful for that introduction to sheets.
Whoa.
Yeah. The whole book is like that.
Really?
It's amazing. It's like, could there be another way? It's like she talks about slavery in all different ways, you know? And the juxtaposition, it's like, can you really understand slavery until you understand that this man is seeing and sleeping in white cotton bed sheets for the first time? You know, and he gets that for 18 months out of his life. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That was like a glimpse into a whole world that I am missing out on, which is the beautiful world of literature. I want to read do you write? Do you, like, other than music, do you write literature?
Yeah.
Where do I come across that?
Well, I know that you know about my album release, but I created a companion book with it at the same time, which has a couple of my previously published essays.
Oh my gosh,
and
I can't wait.
You know, sometime I should try reading. I should read some of these. I should
Yes!
make little videos of reading some of this stuff. I feel like sometimes it's hard to take in when someone's reading aloud. It's hard to take in everything that they are saying, but I feel like that's an art form that I've been trying to get better at. Me reading in a way that allows the listener to really hear the poetry and the words behind it. So, yeah. But shall we play some music?
We can do that.
Because I love having guests on the show because I feel like it's a gift for me to share the songwriters and their work, you know, with the other people in my community. And I'm excited about your music. I really enjoyed the gig that we played together last year.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
And like as musicians, as songwriters, we're totally different.
Totally.
And yet, you know, we have like you were talking about at the beginning of this, you know, we draw from a lot of different influences and, you know, and we also enjoy a wide variety of music. So
yes.
Now I know that you don't have any instruments with you, so we're doing it a different way than we've done it yet.
We're going to drop the beat.
We're going to drop the beat.
Yes. Okay. Let me take one headphone off. So this is my song. So let me know how this volume is.
Sounds okay.
Okay. Muito beijos, agora. Yeah. Muito beijos, agora. I wanna bask in light. It's 1 a.m. Please spend the night. Don't care about your pride. I'm having all of you tonight. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm having all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. Yeah. Whoa, ooh, ooh. I'm having all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. Yeah. Muito precious agora. Yeah. Muito precious agora. I wanna bask in light. It's 1 a.m. Please spend the night. Don't care about your pride. You're having all of me tonight. Ooh, 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 ooh. all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. Yeah. Whoa. Woo. Woo. I'm having all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. I'm kinda scared to tell you my feelings, my feelings. I try skirting round the tip of my feelings, my feelings. Oh, that's that guitar solo. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Oh. Ooh, I'm having all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. Yeah. Whoa. Ooh, I'm having all of you tonight. I'm having all of you tonight. Yeah. Whoa. That was fun.
So good. I love that song. Oh my gosh. So you start out in what language?
Portuguese.
And you're not a native Portuguese speaker, though.
I am not a native Portuguese speaker. That song I wrote in 2018 when I moved to LA, around the same time as when we met at NSAI.
Yeah.
I was sitting at home with my guitar and I started playing bossa chords. I wish I had a guitar, but they're just like bossa, arpeggiated bossa chords. And I just came up with that, ooh, 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 like that was the hook. And then the verse, like that song was born in like 5 minutes. One of those, like, it knew itself. It knew what it wanted to be. I actually had this really great teacher. I did his name was Billy Seidelman, and he did a 6-week workshop here in New York with BMI in conjunction with BMI. It was called the BMI Song Arts Academy. And I remember one of his biggest pillars for songwriting technique was the nerve center of the song. And he's like, you got to figure out, you got to get clear on what the song wants to be really early on. Don't bullshit. And he's like, if you're thinking way too long about what the song's nerve center is, then it's not a song. Move on. But like his biggest urgency was like the song needing to make itself clear very early on in the songwriting stages. And Beijos knew what it wanted to be when those bossa chords played, and the hoo hoo hoo, like that's, and the verses were just like, all right, we'll be this. And I was like, okay, I didn't have to think that hard.
You know, it's funny when a song comes that fast. It comes that fast after years and years and years and years of thinking about music and making music. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that one's on Spotify. Yes. And it's making its way onto my playlists.
So, what do we get to hear from you?
So, totally different. This is a song from the new album. I have had a crazy busy week, and when I sat down here to figure out, what am I going to play today, I realized that all week long I've been obsessed with I'm not even. It's a different tuning. I was playing in a different tuning all week, and working on this other stuff, and I was like, none of that is done. So this is a song. Speaking of International Women's Writing Guild, for that seminar that I taught this morning, this song came out of a conversation I had with a woman at the Guild conference a couple summers ago.
Oh wow.
It's called Only Forever. Let's see here. Let's see what happens if I do that. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I don't want to take you out. Where are you? Nope. Still there. There we go. How is that, Mariami?
Perfect.
Are you okay being small over there?
Oh yes, so happy. Take it, girl.
I waited for you. I waited for you a long time, stood outside the schoolyard, the swings twisting in the wind. I prayed for you, and I prayed for you a long time to chase you in the park. I tried to catch you in a sprint, and things I know but cannot explain. How life is measured by what you lose and what you gain, and how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I love you only forever. You came to me, you grew up tall and gangly. I taught you how to swim, I taught you everything I know. But maybe God was lonely, or fate knew all along I'd protect you with my life. But Lord knows I'm not that strong. The things I know but cannot explain. Life is measured by what you lose and what you gain, and how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I'll love you only forever. They say wounds yield a purpose, and cracks bring the light. All I know is stone on the earth, an angel in the sky. Things I know but cannot explain. Whoa, let's try that again. And things I know but cannot explain. How life is measured by what you lose and what you gain, and how to fight for what you treasure. Let it go when it's time to surrender, and how I love you only forever.
Woo! So beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Your storytelling is so extraordinary. Oh my God. So pure and so like just raw and gorgeous. I want to hear you like on a stage, like at sunset, like in a meadow, like with a festival, music festival, like drinking really good wine. It's like what I want right now.
All of that. Oh my gosh, for sure. I mean, those festivals, just outdoor music and wine and music and
Yes.
community and like the sunset and
Yeah.
the mosquitoes.
Yes. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too. I know. We'll get that stuff drip by drip, right?
Yes.
Like you said.
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be a time, but until then we have Zoom
Oh, yes.
and
And we
Facebook
have
Live.
StreamYard. How did you find this platform?
I just by looking, I guess I wanted to be able to be side by side with my fellow songwriters and like talk.
But you also have all these these graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
It's great.
I know. It's great. Yeah, let's see if there's anything fun in there. I have that little guy.
Yeah.
That guy I use
Oh,
for
yeah.
for my Friday night thing.
Oh my God.
So there you go. Yeah, it's a cool little platform. I'm liking it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mariami, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Such an honor to have you and to hear your music and to get a chance to just chit chat and connect.
It's such an honor to have been invited, and I feel honored to have performed for your community, and I can't wait now to tune in going forward.
Yeah, cool. Until we talk next time,
Yes.
take good care. Stay
Yes,
safe and
likewise.
sound.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.